Hi, listen to KRUX 91.5 FM in Las Cruces. You're listening to The Gates of Metal. I'm your host tonight, the Guardian of Metal. I'm here with Mischief Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hello.
Okay, so if we want to get a couple of names for the audience, that way everybody knows who we're talking to.
So, hello, everyone. I'm Carlos Vargas. I sing and play rhythm guitars in this band.
And I'm Sten Hasselquist. I'm the other guitar player.
We also have two members missing today, unfortunately. Shed a single tear for them. There's Alex McCooch, who plays bass and is currently located in Los Angeles, California. And also Matt Dyneck, who is at work right now.
Or the bar. Or he's at the bar.
Or he's at Bosque, just chilling.
And I believe Matt is your drummer, correct?
Matt is indeed our drummer. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I met him the other day when we had the interview set up.
Yeah, when we flipped the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not fun.
I'm just glad to hear that everyone got out of that already.
Yeah, we are too.
Somehow.
So for people not listening, since we brought it up, do you want to go into that just a little bit?
The truck flipping?
Like a whole lot of details, or if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
Yeah, well, I was
brought it up.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a pretty metal story actually. We were driving south on Espina, and some woman just ran the red light on Missouri, hit the side of my truck pretty hard. She was driving Ford SUV, and my truck skidded on the driver's side for a bit, and then rolled completely over on the roof, skidded about 100 feet, and then myself and Alex just crawled out. Unharmed.
Yeah, that is pretty metal-like.
Right?
Yeah.
Completely unscathed.
Luckily enough. I saw the picture that you sent of the truck. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I'm getting a new one here next week. All the insurance is settled, so.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Good.
Thanks, Satan.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I just want to go into a little bit. You mentioned you're the singer and guitarist, Carlos?
Yep, that's me. So just a little bit about my background, I guess. I'm from a little town called Sayreville, New Jersey, which is about 10 miles outside of New York City. And I spent most of my time in New Brunswick, the hub city, where I did my undergrad, played in a couple bands around there, including the Social Scumbags, which is a pretty awesome punk rock band. Moved here in 2012. Here being Las Cruces, New Mexico. Played in a band called The Vision, headed by this guy Lee Ruiz, really cool dude. Now does a solo project in Los Angeles. And when he moved out to LA and that band dissipated, Sten and I started this band Mischief Knight. Sten, you want to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I actually come from Virginia, so we're both East Coasters. I played in a lot of bands through high school and college, the biggest of which was Ice Fortress, this melodic death metal band with Peyton, who's now in Humongous. And so we were based out of Richmond, Virginia, good old Richmond. And then I came out here in Las Cruces in 2013. And I'm also, in addition to Mischief Knight, I also play, actually program drums and play lead for a little blackened surf rock band called Alex Grimm and the Beach Satans. And Alex, the bass player, is also in that group. But in 2014, March, Carlos came to me. We're actually roommates. We live in the same house. And he came to me. He's like, I want to start a band, and I want to front it. And I could just see the look of conviction in his eyes. I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, I was ready. I was ready, baby.
And that's when Mischief Knight started.
Boom.
Right on. That's pretty neat. I was actually going to ask about your previous, I guess, band experience. You guys have, it sounds like you've had a couple of bands under your belt now. Would you like to, how has that sort of influenced your music or musical style or anything with Mischief Knight?
Yeah, so our musical style is a really diverse style, and it's really different for each of us. So that's kind of an interesting facet of our band. But my early music days, I was actually trained in guitar, mostly in jazz, which is different. So I did a lot of improvising, stuff like that, head writing and stuff. But then I was like, hey, I'm an aggressive teenager. I want to be in a friggin' punk rock band. So that's when I started. I didn't start this band. That's when I joined this band called the Social Scumbags with this guy Ryan Switzer, a.k.a. Ryan Scumbag. Yeah, he was probably one of the craziest, awesomest frontmen I ever played with. He was really, really influential in how I do stuff on stage nowadays. But yeah, that was fun just to get some aggression out, the late high school, early college days. And then when I moved here with the Vision, that was a totally different experience. It was more of like a dance/indie acoustic folk rock band. So I just kind of sat in the back, played some really tasty background guitar-y type stuff to what Lee was doing, fronting that band. And that was a lot of fun. But, putting it all together, but yeah, there's like a little bit of jazz in what I like to do, a little bit of punk rock, a little bit of indie, even really tasteful, heady type rock stuff too. So that's where my main influences come from.
It's pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Lots of influence to bring to the band. That's pretty neat. And Stan?
Yeah, so I also draw on a lot of different influences, and I guess kind of like Carlos, while I was in bands in high school, I was also taking guitar classes at my high school, and that was pretty classical focused, and that's where I actually learned how to play guitar. I've been playing guitar for like 6 years, but didn't actually learn anything about music or playing guitar seriously, like all the different modes and all that, until I was taking these classes in high school, which seemed lame at the time, but now it's very helpful, and I was able to apply it to other bands like Ice Fortress and stuff like that. Where we played some pretty big shows. But I think what's really different for me in Mischief Night is really the maturity of the band. And for starters, we practice instead of just setting up our amps and just blowing our ears out or wearing earplugs. We actually have a in-ear monitor set up, so everyone has a set of headphones and everyone listens to their own mix, and you adjust the mix accordingly. So instead of listening to just this loud wall of noise, you can hear every instrument very detailed. And so just at the level that we practice, and we also critique each other very much. So this is definitely the most mature band I've ever been in. I think it shows in our music.
Nice. Yeah, I know a lot of bands around here, they just kind of have to, they sort of have to set up and just have that sort of wall of sound to practice with, because it's, from personal experience, from what I've gotten to know about the bands around here, it's sort of like a budget type of thing.
Sure.
Where it's money doesn't allow quite that much.
Yeah, for sure. We were lucky enough to find some crazy deals on like a soundboard and also the monitor setup, so we did it on a budget too. We don't have like super high tech equipment, but what we have works, and it works really well for us. So
yeah, of course, whatever you need, right?
Yeah.
And if the price is right, may as well
exactly
go with it, right?
Grab it.
So one of the things that I always like to ask a lot of the bands around here, what kind of inspired you guys to play? You both mentioned playing in high school. Is that sort of where you sort of started to play, or were you kind of into music and metal at the time and you just picked it up?
Well, for me, it was Metallica.
Right on.
That was like middle school days for me. I just listened to a whole bunch of OG, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and was just like, I need to learn how to play this on guitar. And even then I was taking like jazz lessons and learning about all this theory, but at the same time I was like, oh man, screw this. I want to just get out and friggin' let out some of this aggression in guitar form. So Metallica really made me into the guitarist that I am today, I guess you could say. Thanks, Kirk Hammett, and your borderline decent solos. But
yeah, and so for me, similar, definitely Metallica. But where it all started was my grandma had this guitar in her attic that my brother and I would always like just bang on. And then when I was in 7th grade, I can remember being like, actually, I should probably just learn how to play that thing. So I got it, and my mom hooked me up with some lessons. I lived in Northern Virginia at the time, and my teacher was very good. So I was playing this acoustic guitar, just doing, the basic chords, notes, and stuff. And then I went to Georgia to visit my good friend, Lucas, and he had just got a really crappy electric guitar, really crappy amp, and he was playing like Iron Man and Smoke on the Water, but like really loud, where his mom was like, Luke, turn that down. And that's when I was just like, whoa, I got to do this. And then from there, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin quickly turned into Metallica. And so there, my story goes the same as Carlos there. Just every Metallica song, got to learn it. My brother played drums too. He picked up the drums around the same time, and it was just, we got to play Metallica.
And so you guys mentioned you're from New Jersey and Virginia. How did you guys kind of like come to meet?
Oh, yeah,
Or,
that's
like the band story.
that's a
Since
big
we're
thank
missing
you.
two
Oh yeah,
members.
big thank you to NMSU for that actually. So we came here both because we're in the same grad school program. We're both PhD students in astronomy here at NMSU, and I came here in 2012, and Sten came here the year after. And Sten was like, "Hey, I need a place to live," and ended up living in the same house, had a free room, and we both play music, and it was just a really organic thing from there.
Yeah, and then we knew Matt through our actually professor, Chris Churchill. He's an astronomy professor at MSU, and he was in this cover band with Matt. And so we met Matt through there, and then eventually asked him to be in our band, and then he said yes, and he's very good drummer.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Glad to have him.
He's a machine.
And was Alex sort of the same? You
So-
guys kind of met here? Or?
So Alex, I've actually known Alex since about 7th grade. So actually, he and I used to play a lot of Metallica and Guns N' Roses when I was just learning how to play guitar. And I've known him for a while, but we've always lived in different places. And we got him into the band because Chris was her original bass player, quit. Nothing serious or anything like that. Just wanted to do some other stuff. And my friend Alex just happened to be moving to L.A. from Virginia. So we decided, I knew this guy, I've already worked with him before, I knew he could learn all the bass parts, and so we kind of got him right now as a long-distance member, but in the hopes that we'll go to LA and play some shows out there.
It's kind of another homage to, I think, this band's mindset and professionalism, too, is having this guy Alex come across the country, be based out of LA, and then have the wherewithal to learn all of our songs remotely, and then just show up and play the songs live, no problem, first try, basically.
Yeah, he played a show with us without actually really playing with us, but was able to learn all the songs. And then the next day, we went to this Mark Klett Studios, and he laid down bass tracks for 3 of the songs.
Wow.
So I mean, he's the real deal.
Pretty advanced then.
Yeah,
Super professional.
And he's got his own solo project, Devourer of Heaven, and also I mentioned Alex Grimm of the Beach Satans. He's the proponent of that. If you like your blackened surf rock, it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, both those bands are amazing.
So actually, I guess that kind of answers my next question. It was about how you guys kind of perform with practices if he's in LA and you guys are here.
Yeah, so that's actually a good question. I mean, what we usually do is we have a little mixing board where you can have 4 separate mixes, and we'll load him up on Skype, and we'll just plug that board into the computer, and he can hear his own separate mix come out through his speakers. So he can play along. We can't hear what he plays because of latency, but he can play along and then ask questions, and then I'll usually meet with him once a week just to make sure we have all the riffs together and playing the same notes and whatnot.
Wow.
But it actually works out pretty well, surprisingly.
The internet, it's awesome.
No kidding. Enable you to play from across the country.
Right. Yeah.
So does he get a lot of latency kind of on his end too, or he's able to hear sort of everything like in the proper speed? Or
there's some latency for him. It's a delay for him, but he can just play along to what he hears.
Oh, that's true.
It's just he can't. If he puts his bass into us, his bass will be way behind.
Oh, yeah.
So we can't listen to him, but he can listen to us and just play along.
Cool. So have you guys played any shows in LA yet, or is it mostly around here for right now?
Not yet. We're hoping to schedule some for the summer now that we have a bit more time. And Alex is already out there making connections. He just saw a show with this band, Gone or Be Gone, featuring the bass player for Mastodon, but the opening band for them he's already talked to, so he's establishing connections. And we also need to make some calls and get on that and do some road trips out there.
But watch out, LA, we're on the way.
Nice place to shoot for.
Right?
Yeah.
Big music scene.
Yeah.
Have you guys played a lot of shows around here with or without Alex? Or is it sort of mostly just kind of setting things up while you're down here?
Yeah, we've been in the scene in Las Cruces and a bit in El Paso for probably, over a year now or so, playing shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of our favorite venues around here to play at was the old Haphazard Hall that, rest in peace, is out of business now. It was the most fun place to play ever.
I love that place. We love that place.
Bring it back, dude. If you guys are listening, just bring it back, dude. But yeah, we've also played a bunch of shows at El Patio, the Standard. It's a good room. We did Hurricane Alley before that also changed names. We'll try and get into the Warehouse, I think, eventually. And we had a show at Sector 7 down in El Paso, which was a fun one.
Sector 7 is nice.
Yeah, it's a great room. Oh, the best sound we've ever had, too. There was this dude, Lobes, who did sound there, and the dude was, like, hyper professional, like, so good. Really spot on. So, yeah, Lobes, if you're listening, man, bring us back, baby.
But yeah, I mean, lately we haven't been looking for too many shows out here, just because we really want to make it worth the while bringing Alex out here. But also we were working on some new music. We just recorded 3 new tracks with Mark Klett, and we're hoping to do another 2 more or so. And so we've been kind of focusing on bringing Alex up to speed, because he's only been in the band for like 2 months now, maybe not even 2 months. Wow. So it's a pretty recent thing. So we're kind of still bringing them up to speed, but also there's some new songs we want to work on and whatnot. So when we do play the show, we want to make sure, we go to LA for like 3 days or something and really get it out. Or if Alex comes out here, we have like 3 or 4 shows lined up we can really get something out of.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So have you guys played a lot of shows down here with him then, or
just the one about a month ago or so?
Okay.
Yeah. Every other show is with Chris, our old bass player.
Yeah.
And you guys just haven't really been playing anything really since you lost your old bass player then?
Yeah. So right after Chris decided to leave, that's when we really started doing the recordings for the new EP we have.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of aligned pretty well, actually, because then we could focus a lot on the writing and focus a lot on getting the recordings down really well. So that's what we've been doing for the past, 3-4 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now that the EP's done, wrapped up with a bow on it, if you want, it's on iTunes. Also, you can stream it from our website, mischiefnightband.com. But yeah, now we're going to start trying to hit the scene in LA, Phoenix more, and El Paso.
Trying to start
head west, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of bigger music areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Do you guys have any particular venues that you're looking for, either in LA or on the way to LA?
Well, I've seen a couple shows in Tucson that seem like cool venues, although the one I understand closed. So it would also be cool to check the scene out in Tucson. I saw the Atlas Moth at this tiny bar venue. That was pretty sick. And then also Phoenix. I think Phoenix has some good venues. So it'd be cool to do kind of a tour along the way. So we'll have to look into those places a bit more.
Yeah. Also, a little bit further east of here, actually, one of my favorite rooms ever is the Lowbrow Palace in El Paso.
Lowbrow, that's pretty nice.
Oh my God, I love that room. It's so good. So hopefully one day we could get a connection there. So
I don't know if it's too hard to get into Lowbrow, actually.
I talked to a few people, but I don't know. Didn't really pan out. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Keep trying, though.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so this one's I've been kind of burning for a little bit.
Uh-oh, here it is, the real questions.
What was your inspiration for the name? Was that something that someone had in mind already, or it just kind of was a drop of the dictionary?
The band name?
Yeah.
Talking about? Yeah. So it's actually really funny. So my family's from Philadelphia, and Carlos is from New Brunswick, which ain't too far away.
Yeah.
And so I grew up, and he grew up with this thing that the night before Halloween is called Mischief Night, and you go out and do mischief. So my dad has all these stories of all these Mischief Night stories. We would go to the next door neighbor and hook up like a little metal ball attached to fishing string and knock on the window till she came out with a broom and yelled she has a shotgun.
Oh my God.
So like Mischief Night is a thing people observe. It's the night before Halloween, and turns out that those are like the only places people, I think, even have Mischief Night.
Yeah.
You agree?
Once I left New Jersey, I was like, wow, no one even knows what I'm talking about, Mischief Night. Like, why aren't people going to the grocery store picking up 36 eggs the night before Halloween? Like, obviously the thing to do is to go around and egg people's houses. But, yeah, I guess that's not a thing down here, but I think we should bring it back.
Right.
We should bring it back west.
But that's the inspiration, kind of just this Mischief Night. You just go out and do mischief.
That's definitely a good insight, because I've never heard of that. Otherwise, the question probably wouldn't have even have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I remember seeing, like, there's some little test that says, like, what region are you from based on what you use, and Like if Mischief Night is in your vocabulary, you either live in Philadelphia or like that west central New Jersey area. That's
really
it.
Adjacent to it.
Yeah, and that's it. Those are the only places where people say it, I guess.
Right on. So how long have you guys been? This is probably stepping back a little bit, but have you been kind of playing around the Las Cruces, El Paso area?
What was it, like a year and a half? I think we've been doing it.
So
Something like
we
that.
formed the band in March of 2014, Carlos and I, and then once we went through a few other members and got kind of our first steady lineup, we were probably playing shows starting September, October, I think. And our first show was kind of funny because Chris booked it. Chris was really good at booking shows around here because he was already in a bunch of other bands, so he was just always sending feelers out.
Knew everybody.
So he booked us this show, say we got to play for 30 minutes, and we had like 2 songs.
Yeah.
So in like a month or 2, we wrote a bunch of songs, and since we have torn those songs apart.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we probably started playing shows October 2014, and we played fairly often until this past fall 2015.
Yeah, sounds about right. But yeah, we had that first EP out, and it must have been written and recorded over the course of 2 months or something crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that thing, if you search the bowels of the internet hard enough, you might be able to still find traces of it. But we took most of those songs and actually tore them up, except for Silence. Silence was the first song we ever wrote, and we haven't touched it since.
Yeah,
we like it.
The only one.
The only one.
The rest are almost, you can't even really tell.
Yeah.
From their original versions.
I think most of No Chaser, too, is really in its final form, too. It's up to 9,000, so.
So, Stan, you kind of referenced to having to write a 30-minute set worth of music in, like, a month's worth of time?
Yeah, it was probably about a month or so with him.
Do you have a lot of those songs still, or how does it sounds like a lot of your musical process is kind of like trying to condense a lot of things really quickly. How does that kind of...
and that's actually kind of how those songs were written. So the songs in the EP now and the songs we've recorded recently, they are probably half as long as their original versions. And what we do is we kind of, after we play something for a while, we kind of think about what part is boring. This part's really boring. How can we spice it up? Sometimes we spice it up. Matt does some crazy rhythms. Carlos has some sweet idea. And other times we just axe it. We're like, all right, we'll just play this half as long. And so that was kind of the process for those songs. We wrote these like 3 or 4 longer songs, and since we've just chopped them up and added them, made them more complicated. Just wherever we get bored, we just try to get rid of the parts that are boring for us.
Cool. So I know you've mentioned these other bands that you've played with and these crazy like mixes of genres like black. What did you call it?
Black and surf rock. I mean, that was actually created. Alex wanted to create something that just wasn't really done before, so he took surf rock and black metal and just smashed them together.
That's definitely a really interesting.
Yeah, I encourage you to check it out and
listen to it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the lyrics are like, "Grab your babe, grab your board. Today we shred for the horde." And like our top song is "Hang 666."
Oh my gosh!
But it's just surfing black metal themes.
Yeah. That's definitely a really interesting combination. I'll have to look into that. This whole semester I've been sort of doing like heavy metal and like the subgenres that have kind of stemmed out of heavy metal. So that'd be a really cool thing if that kind of catches on into the metal community.
Yeah, and we kind of pushed that into Mischief Night too, kind of, but on a more global scale. Kind of just like, what other genres can we throw in here, or like what genre have we not explored before, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like Mischief Night really takes Alex Grimm and the Beach Satans idea to the next level, kind of really like syncretism, if that is even the word here, of like mixing genres together and trying to make it all mesh over the whole envelope of metal.
Yeah.
So this might be difficult now that you just mentioned that, but what kind of genre would you guys define Mischief Night as under?
Well, probably the closest thing is progressive metal meets psychedelic rock meets the Backstreet Boys meets Primus. I don't know. It's hard to explain, yeah.
Yeah, actually, we'd like some help with that if anyone has any ideas. I mean, there are some songs that are definitely less genre exploring than others. Like No Chaser is probably just like a hard rock metal song. There's some different parts in it that probably make you a little more proggy, but Then there's some other songs like Cut Out, where there's just like this huge doom part before we go to this really fast, just kind of upbeat rock bit. Or sometimes we just like try to go full Primus on a part and just make it sound like whatever we were playing, make it sound a lot weirder.
Yeah.
So just stay out of a key and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It'd be good to. I can't really give you an easy answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, each song is its own little baby, you know? It's going to grow up to be a big boy someday.
And the last couple of bands that I've talked to have also mentioned something real similar. Like, they like having this real diverse spectrum to their music, so that way they can kind of fit in with whatever kind of show that they're looking to play next. So that's always a pretty great thing.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes it hard finding shows that way, though. 'Cause there's not a whole lot of bands that sound exactly like we do. But, yeah, it's always fun finding similar bands around, though. So
Yeah,
but it's hard.
I don't know how many bands around here kind of, well, the Las Cruces area at least. I know most of the bands that I've spoken to sort of have a more solid, I guess, genre.
Yeah.
In particular, that they sort of have reached finally.
Yeah.
And so this next question is probably going back a little bit.
Okay.
But I always like to ask, and I know we've kind of covered this a little bit, this lineup that you have right now with Alex and Matt also, has this always sort of been the Mischief night lineup, or have you guys kind of cycled through a lot of people, or just a few people?
Yeah, so the only person we cycled through, for lack of a better term, is Chris. And aside from that, there's this other guy, Marco, who we first started. He's Marco Fimbres, who's also our first drummer, so to speak. But he only really hung around for like a month or so. And then we got Matt into it soon after that. So
Yeah. I mean, really, the main lineup was really myself, Carlos, Matt, and Chris. And then we had tried out some other people beforehand, and just weren't quite the right fit. So that was kind of the original lineup. And then Chris left, and now we have Alex.
Yeah, and the people who we did have in the band before the current lineup now, it was cool. It wasn't really like a falling out type of deal, which has been in some of my past bands have been just like, dudes get into fights and throw down, and then suddenly there's two members, It was all just really super professional, which is kind of in the theme of this band is, oh, hey, the music isn't going where we want it to go, so we're going to step down, or hey, my life is taking a different path, so I'm going to have to step down.
Yeah, of course.
That's kind of been how people have been coming in and out of the band. So everyone who's in it right now is like gung-ho, ready to go, ready to work twice a week. So I think that's a really good atmosphere and a good recipe to have really solid music.
Yeah. So would you say this is kind of like the final Mischief concoction then? The greatest?
Yeah, I'd say that until something happens.
Yeah.
But,
who knows?
But I mean, everyone seems really into it. Yeah, we have a lot of plans to push forward, and everyone's on board with those plans. So I'd call it the final concoction.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. It's nice to hear when bands feel like they've got the
Got the recipe
final,
down.
the good recipe.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to hear that it's not a falling out either, because I know things can get dumb.
Dude, being in a band's like having 3 girlfriends, except they're dudes. It's true, man.
Yeah.
I think we should also maybe mention Mark too, because Mark
Yeah.
Collette he does all of our recordings. He's an awesome producer in town, local, and he also plays some keys on some of the tracks in the recordings. He's not technically officially a member, but he's kind of effectively a member, man.
Yeah, he's put in as much work as any one of us.
Yeah.
Just doing the recording and all the production and all that stuff. So we consider him at least an honorary member.
Yeah.
Fifth Beatle, sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So how does your songwriting process now kind of go along? Is it still sort of like a real kind of sped up process? Or
No. Luckily, that's part of the good thing about not having shows is when you can actually sit down and like for 3 practices a week, you're not rehearsing, you're not working on some other song, you can actually write new stuff. And the process can change from song to song. I mean, the first couple of songs, I had them written mostly beforehand, and then we tore them up. And then some of the other songs we wrote, someone else had a big chunk written, and we tore them up. But the last few songs we've written, it's kind of been as a band, and it's kind of we write more on, here's a riff, check this out, or we'll do jam and maybe pull one riff out. And then from there, it's kind of like, where do we want the song to go? What does this sound like? Oh, and Carlos might be sitting there and be like, hey, Matt, can you do this on the drums? Or Sten, play this riff. Or then, we just talk about it a lot, and we kind of move forward as a band. And then we'll write a song that way, and then we'll go back and tear it apart again, just like the other songs.
So would you say you're trying to move more a little bit towards a full band sort of input as you write these songs now, as opposed to one person kind of bringing an idea to the table and then working on it from there?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's definitely, the last few songs definitely been a total collaborative effort. Would you agree, Carl?
Yeah, I think the word we're looking for here is synergy.
Synergico.
But yeah, that's for sure. And as far as, I guess, taking lyric writing is another section of that question. I like to write all of the things that I sing, but that hasn't totally been true. Like Silence was totally written collaboratively with me and Sten. Cool lyrics to that song, kind of a concept one. Check it out. But most of the other times I write lyrics, I just kind of take what's going on in my life and condense it on paper. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's way more complicated than that, but if I told you, then I'd have to kill you.
He doesn't tell us, so he doesn't have to kill us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there'd be no Mischief night.
That's
exactly.
right.
And I think a big thing with lyrics, too, for me at least, whenever I listen to other bands' lyrics, like, I don't care why this dude wrote the song he wrote. I only care about what the song means to me. So if there's anybody who listens to our songs and they take a different meaning than what I was originally had in my head, I think that's totally fine. It's really just up to the listener.
Open to interpretation.
Exactly.
Sort of approach.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you write lyrics in that sort of manner, or you try to kind of relate to your audience more?
Oh, I would love to relate to an audience, but I won't be true to myself then. And I need to just kind of write the lyrics that are coming out of my head. So that's kind of the perspective I take on it.
Has anyone else written any lyrics for a song yet, or has it just been you?
Oh, yeah. Chris actually wrote the lyrics to this song, Kingdom. He wrote all of those lyrics. So I take zero credit for that song, too. But yeah, that's a fun song. It's definitely, the lyrics are totally different than any of our other songs. So yeah, listen to that one, listen to the rest, and you'll be like, whoa, okay, that's, yeah, totally different meaning.
The whole song's different, really.
Yeah, the whole song is different. I think, Chris had a lot of chunks of writing that song in general, too. So if you want to know the work of Chris Churchill, that's a good place to start.
Kingdom, yeah.
Kingdom, yeah.
Is it sort of a jump for you guys to kind of go from what you're writing now to playing that particular song, or is it's sort of like that, like how you mentioned earlier, the each song is sort of like it's got its own different style?
You mean to go back and play Kingdom with the new stuff? Yeah, so that's actually, glad you brought that up, because we actually think that's one of our least favorite songs, at least
really?
Myself, Carlos, and Matt. But I've had 2 or 3 of my friends say, dude, Kingdom's my favorite, and I think that's the same with you, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how that worked out, because exactly, then now we kind of do this collaborative. We try to make things complicated if things are bored, and Kingdom we feel like has more boring parts, but people are like, yeah, love that.
I dig it, yeah.
It also has a guitar solo, which a lot of our
Shredsville.
songs don't have guitar solos, so I think that's part of it.
Yeah, Sten shredding face on that song. Yeah, it's weird with Kingdom. Either you like absolutely love it, or you're kind of mad on it. I don't know. I've never had a reaction that was like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool song."
Where do you guys see Mischief Night kind of going in the future? I know you referred to moving to LA, correct? Moving the whole section over there.
So that's kind of a little bit further down the road, maybe. So I'm not sure. I can't speak for everybody, but my time at NMSU hopefully will be up in about a year or so. So that from that point on, it depends on where I could get a job, but I would be definitely pointed at looking at LA, meeting up with Alex there. And that would be cool to keep the band going there, based out of LA. But I know in the more short term, at least, we're definitely just planning to play more shows out west, Phoenix and LA and stuff. So maybe one day we'll eventually be based out of LA, but that depends on a lot of things.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. I think the hope is we'll put in the work this year here, and then everybody will want to go to LA, and then
Exactly.
it'll blow up from there. But it's kind of hard. It is hard to see past this next year. I know I would definitely like to at least still, at the very least, write music with the dudes and keep a kind of online presence going if we can't be together and play shows too often.
Yeah, I think one thing we've really noticed in being in Las Cruces in the El Paso area, which isn't exactly the hub of live music and the hub of up-and-coming artists, is that the internet in today's day and age really takes hold and really drives the art nowadays rather than just live shows everywhere, which, you know, of course is still a thing, but isn't quite the thing in El Paso, Las Cruces. So I think I think regardless of where we end up, even if we're all in separate places, there's no reason that this band wouldn't be writing original music regularly and putting out new EPs and albums and just disseminating it on the internet. And I mean, that's a great way for us to get noticed, and we have been, so.
So you wouldn't say that if Stan and Carlos, if you guys were to move to LA with Alex, that Matt wouldn't still be contributing to the band?
Oh, no, yeah, he could still write the parts, send them in, and we could wrap everything up that way. And if we have shows to play, he could come down probably. Right. But, I mean, he's not here. I can't really speak for him, right? Who knows?
Matt, you're out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a pretty great plan to me, even though it's not – it's difficult to foresee too far into the future what you guys are planning for, especially with the whole gap in the distance.
Right.
Trying to get all that working together well. But I listened to the music video that you have on your, is it private? I think it's your private webpage, correct?
Yeah, and that links to YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to that, and that was pretty neat. And I thought it was a three member band, excuse me, because there was only the three of you. But I guess you probably recorded the part and.
Oh wait, no! All four of us were in that video. I think
all four of us are in the video.
Yeah.
I only remember seeing three.
The long-haired guys might just look the same.
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, we actually made that video ourselves, just in the desert with a few cameras and a lot of liquid.
A lot of liquid's one word for it. Yeah. But yeah, if you wanted to check out that video, it's on mischiefnightband.com. Okay.
Well, thanks for having us on.
We're Mischief Night once again. Our music can be found at mischiefnightband.com. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/band-mischiefnight.
All right. It's been great having you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.